All right, guys, we are back with the guest we were teasing about, one of my all-time favorite people in the world. And he's not one of the latest cup winners that you guys hear frequently on the show, but we are going to St. Louis. So we had to get the hometown kid himself, Mr. Kenny Wallace. Thank you for joining Sack and Pennies.
Well, I'm excited to be on your show. Congratulations on that baby. I see all the pictures. I'm so excited for you, Corey.
Man, and we were talking before we jumped on here just about how like a different chapter of life. And people hear about my chapters of life each and every week. I broke down the whole fire drill on the way to the hospital, delivering baby number 2. But this isn't about me. I wanted to catch up on what chapter of life Kenny Wallace is in.
Well, I'm definitely not in my last chapter. My mom, Judy, she says, she calls me Ken. She goes, Ken, hon, you keep reinventing yourself. And I'm like, Mom, I don't mean to. It just happens. So, right now, I'm 58 years old. I live in St. Louis. I wanted to come back home, Corey, just because it made me feel comfortable. We always planned on coming back to St. Louis. And I love the baseball Cardinals. I love our hockey team. I love our city, but I really like racing that dirt car of mine, and it keeps me busy. I love going up to the shop every morning, like you and I do. We drink our coffee every morning, go up to the race shop. My wife, she's building these wreaths, for everybody's doors. She builds thousands of them. So yeah, we got it going on. We're happy in life, and that's a good question. What chapter are you in? I'm coming to the end of my racing. I'm getting tired. This shoulder here's got 2 torn tendons, like 80%. So I'm feeling the years of all this racing, but we're racing and we're raising grandbabies and we're having a good life.
Do you miss living down in Charlotte, doing the NASCAR stuff, whether it was with speed or on the broadcast or even driving? What is it about just the NASCAR stuff that you don't necessarily miss versus the stuff you think about often?
Well, I miss you and I miss your dad and I miss my friends, but inevitably one reason I'm happy I came home is because, and I don't know if you can relate with this or not, but for example, when I lived in Concord, North Carolina, if I run 15th in the cup race, and let's say I went to McAllister's Deli or Texas Roadhouse, right there on Bruton Smith Boulevard, because that was right where we lived, or nowadays, right there in Afton Village, everybody would always go, what happened? I'm like, what do you mean? And they said, yeah, what happened? I said, when? And they're like, you run 15th in the cup race. I'm like, yeah. They say, yeah, what happened? It was like that everywhere you go. I got judged on how I ran in that damn cup car, and I had it up to here. I got tired of that environment, that constant competition environment. I couldn't go eat without people wanting to, bring that, how did you finish on Sunday, into the conversation. So I miss you. I miss all my friends, but inevitably I had to get out of that environment. It was very toxic for me. Now everybody's like, hey, Herm, how you doing? They're just my buddies, my friends, my childhood friends. And, but yeah.
So I don't want to breeze over that because that's what we talk about here often on the show, because I'm in that same phase of my career that you just mentioned, right? A 15th day for myself in Spire Motorsports is almost like a win. But you go to McAllister's and they think you're the 14th place loser. Like that's really, truly what you're measured up against because you see it each and every day. What are some things you used to do, and you might still do them now, just to kind of keep yourself competitive, maybe even optimistic going to the racetrack in the middle of that Cup Series career when you get ground down and beat down into the dirt each and every week?
Well, I tell you what, there is a huge Alan Quickie created it before he went to the Cup Series. He was running an ASA race years ago, before Alan Quickie became a NASCAR Cup champion. It was called PMA. Actually, it was his crew chief at the time, Paul Anders, held this chalkboard up. PMA, positive mental attitude. And I would trick myself into going, man, I'm so excited to go to the NASCAR track. You know, and your stomach was just in a knot. You know, you had to train yourself, you know, that, you know, I'm going to run good here at Dover this week. You know, it's not my best track. This is going to be the week. You know, every week was always a do-over for me. And, you know, those are the things that I told myself. Positive mental attitude. This is going to be the week we're going to get it. You know, I'm going to work on my driving. You know, then that whole workout phase came along. Remember, I'm old enough that, you know, we just drank water and we looked fine. But then your group came along, and if you weren't working out, that meant the car wasn't going to run good. You know, so, you know, I just tried to be the best I could be. But most of my technique to survive in the Cup Series was right here. You know, just stay as positive I could, get up out of that damn motorhome Friday mornings, and felt like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Just felt like, oh, into that damn garage area. I'm going to get it. First practice session happened, you run 20th, be 25th on the board. Like, here we go again.
I've seen this movie before. Gosh, that's funny. I'm so glad you jumped on the show, my friend. Man, I had a good question lined up for it. Oh, so you see, like, people don't. It's funny and as outgoing you are on social media, I don't think people give you the credit for the racing IQ that you have. I think you look at racing, you understand racing on a very high level. When you watch the progression of the, maybe call it what you want, lack of respect for when it comes to winning, maybe the go for broke mentality that's kind of infiltrated the Cup Series more so than when you guys were doing it in that late 80s, early 2000s range. What does the Cup Series look like to you over the last couple of years?
Well, the landscape has definitely changed. I grew up in an environment. So I think to understand every 10 years, it's like, why does that group drive like that? So my group, which was Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, but even before that was the great Dick Trickle. We all learned somewhere. So Dick Trickle, he said, you know, my boy, he would always call me my boy. He said, my boy, we raced 6 out of 7 nights up here in Wisconsin. And here's what was key. He said, we don't have time to be wrecking each other because we have to race each other the next night. You know, and those names were, you know, Alan Kowicki, you know, Marv Marzovka, Tom Refner, you know, Richie Bickle, all these legendary names. So I thought, yeah, because Corey, if I wreck you, you know, here in St. Louis, then I got to face you the very next week. And I don't want to have to deal with that because we got to race each other. And it seems to me that this era, you know, they definitely just bring their own friends to the racetrack. And, you know, I mean, you know, in my day, you know, you had driver's introduction. You're going to face that driver whether you like it or not. You know, we're all corralled for driver's introduction, you know, and when you know it, you know, back in the day when we had a lot of pageantry, you accidentally get in that same pickup truck, Kenny Wallace and Corey LaJoie, and we just got done wrecking each other last week.
Well, and I say it all the time, usually 90% of the time when you wreck with somebody, it's because you race around that guy every week, in which case you're going to probably qualify next to him the following week because you just got done wrecking him for a position the previous week. So it is funny how that always works out. But I don't want to bury the lead here. We're headed into your home track, Kenny. Is there anything? This is my first time. I've been there since I've been 8 years old with my dad in the late 90s when they were racing the Busch cars. Yeah. What should I expect coming into town this week?
Yeah, I got a lot of laps around here. I can help you right away. Well, first of all, both corners are completely different. This is going to sound odd, but hang with me here. It is, it's not Darlington, but it's shaped like Darlington with, so you go down the front straightaway, turns 1 and 2. So you're going to go from 5th. You're probably going to go 5th, 4th, 3rd. And it's a real tight radius with a little bit of banking. You're going to make that tight corner. Then you're going to, you're going to be 3rd, 4th, 5th down that long back straightaway. And then you're going to get to 3 and 4 and you're going to go, oh, I'm at Phoenix somewhat. Turns 3 and 4 is flat and real long. You know, almost like a turn 3 and 4 at Milwaukee. But I forget how young you are. You probably never raced at some of these tracks.
I never. But how about Loudon? Is it comparable to Loudon?
There you go. Yeah, somewhat turns 3 and 4, but even wider. So when you go into turn 3 here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, you're going to go into turn 3 and you're going to go, my Lord, I'm still turning. It's just a real long, gradual corner. You just keep going around a corner. And then the key is to, obviously, like any racetrack, you really have to exit, really good. And, I'm sure with this new next gen car, y'all are going to go into 3 and you're going to want to put that left front. It has a really nice curb where it's kind of one of those radius curbs. You can put your left front on it a little bit all the way around, and then down. Come off of turn 4, and you're going to use every inch up. But just expect turns 1 and 2 you're going to go flying down in there. You're going to use all the brakes you got. And then you're going to want to start trail braking. You want to start coming off that brake, try to roll that corner, and get up off that corner. You're going to make a lot of speed up off of turn 2. And then, you're going to get about halfway down that back straightaway and you go, man, we're still racing, And somewhere, you get about 3/4 down that back straightaway, you're going to have to see who's on you, who you're racing. And you can get in there too wide, no problem. But it's the same old story. That guy on the inside, you be careful who you're holding down.
Oh yeah,
because they'll get into you accidentally. So expect both corners totally different, Corey.
Love that. I feel like I'm about those are the speed secrets. Hopefully, none of my competitors are listening to the show this week.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the tips there, Kenny. Before I let you go, I got 2 questions I've been asking all of my guests, most of which are current drivers and or previous drivers. So I'm glad I get the opportunity to ask you these questions. Number 1, do you or have you had any like racing related dreams? Like you wake up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night thinking you're late for practice or something like that?
It is the worst dream. I haven't had it probably in the last 5 years, but I'm not exaggerating. I would have this dream all the time that I can't get my seatbelts buckled, and they're racing.
Dude,
and I don't know what. I think it's because in NASCAR, when we raced, when we were racing normally, I'm studying my own dreams. I'm like, why do I keep having this dream?
Yeah. I
think in NASCAR, we're so regimented. Practice at 12:05. Why not 12 o'clock? Why has it got to be 12:06? NASCAR just beats you down with all this. Now, I mean this in a good way.
Yeah.
Everything's so regimented and it just eats your brain alive and ends up going into our dream.
I've heard everything from not being able to get your belts on to I think Joey said that he has a dream he can't get out of the lounge. Like the lounge is locked and in there. And the second, all right. So I got another one. So I'm going to ask you 2 more because I'm just enjoying this so much. Number 2, what's the most embarrassed you've ever been at the racetrack?
Oh, I can tell. It's funny that I thought about this one right away. So it was around 1991. We're at South Boston and we made a pit stop. Those were 200 lap races. You made 1 pit stop, but somehow I guess the lug nut tore off a brake line or something. I couldn't stop, and I was out of brakes. And that was in that Cox Treaty Lumber number 36 car. And it was a good car. Bertie was my crew chief, and I'm trying to slow the car down as I enter the pits. And I feel like I feel like I'm going slow enough, and I can't get this thing to stop, but I'm still moving. And I saw a stack of tires. There's no pit at that time, no pit wall. And I just took my, at that time, Bush Grand National car and ran it square into a stack of tires to stop myself. And I saw everybody's face, their eyes were like this, everybody scattered. And I hit, there's 4 tires stacked. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the tires just went, man, barely missed my wife. I mean, it was horrible. And I'm embarrassed right now.
Man, that's good stuff. All right, last question. And you've driven all sorts of cars, all the way from cup cars down. You're even racing a dirt modified here tonight. If you had to pick one type of car and one racetrack to race at the rest of your life, what do you go with?
Oh, wow. That's a really good one. Well, it's kind of, now it depends if I want stress or not, but I really like the car I'm driving right now. But I'll tell you what, I've raced some street stocks. So you're telling me I got to race the rest of my life? Probably a stock car. It's a series that they have in what they call IMCA, which is the largest, organization in auto racing. It's older than NASCAR. They got a division called stock cars, and they're just fast enough to where you're paying attention, and you can really, even if you make mistakes, you can pound people and just keep on going. Probably a good old, what they call a stock car.
Where at?
Oh, man, I've raced a lot of racetracks. Probably right here at my home track, Kenny Schrader's track, Peevely, Missouri, I-55 Raceway.
There you go. Short drive every day if you were going to drive a street stock at Peevely.
Hey, you just created my dream. I like it.
There you go. Guys, Kenny Wallace, I appreciate you so much. Good talking to you, catching up. Are you going to be at the racetrack this weekend?
Yep, I'll come see you. I'm going to, my old boss, Jacob Ullman at Fox Sports, I'm going to get up in there the second stage on Fox Sports and help call the race. So that's an honor.
Love that. Talk good about me, will you, Kenny Wallace? And thanks for always. And thank you for joining Stacking Pennies.
Love you, Corey.